of applause for Dave Wiskur.
Thanks, James, for inviting me, for one thing, and thanks for you guys that hung around long enough to listen. Can you hear me okay? A little louder? Louder? Okay. This story was published last year in the Mulberry Fork Review, and if you like some good writing for free, you can go online and find that journal. The weight of events. They watched two gas station owners on opposite street corners frantically raising their prices as the sun began to set and the panic set in. His ex-wife Emily had been waiting for him outside her apartment building. She managed a sad smile and an awkward hug as he loaded her luggage into the Explorer. She was thinner than he remembered. "I'm so sorry about your mom, Jeff." "Thanks, Emmy," he said, not sure how to return the hug. "And thanks again for coming with me. Mom would have wanted you to be there. She always loved you." Despite what happened, he added to himself, there was no need to bring up her affair. Not now. "I loved her too, you know," she said. That was true. "I can't believe this is happening," he said as they got into the car. "Me neither. This whole situation must seem surreal to you." He laughed without humor. "I'll say." He had just finished packing that morning before leaving for the airport when Emily, whose flight was later that day, called. She was crying, telling him to turn on the television. He was just in time to see the second tower in New York suddenly start collapsing. She stared out her window as he worked his way down towards downtown and I-70. "Have you had dinner?" She shook her head. "We'll stop for some food as soon as we get out of Kansas City proper, okay? On the turnpike?" "All right." They passed the gas stations with the rapidly rising prices. "Good thing I filled up already. Jesus. Isn't that illegal?" "Probably." She leaned forward and turned on the radio out of habit and, apologetically, looked to him for permission. It was tuned to NPR, now reporting where the vice president had been taken once the government was aware an attack was underway. "Is this okay, Jeff?" "Sure. We can try and keep it on NPR stations as long as we can. I think there's one in Topeka, and there's High Plains Public Radio further west. That should get us to Denver at least." He stopped talking as they made it to the on-ramp and slid into traffic. Perfectly normal traffic for a Tuesday afternoon. It was difficult to tell if the other drivers and passengers knew that everything had changed. "I hope you brought some CDs," she said. She leaned her head wearily against the window, just in case we get too depressed. Jeff glanced over at her. She looked exhausted. It had taken several agonizing hours to get through to her father in New York City, and the prospect of spending 27 hours in a car with her ex-husband couldn't have helped either. But with the airport shut down and the funeral set, the only way to get to Los Angeles in time was to drive, nonstop, together. "After we eat, I want you to get some sleep before switching." She nodded listlessly, head against the glass. On the interstate, neither said much, listening instead to the unfolding disaster, trying and failing to assemble a coherent picture. The service area wasn't crowded. In the McDonald's drive-thru, Jeff made sure to order Emily a chocolate shake with her cheeseburger. She attempted a feeble joke. "Stop trying to fatten me up." "What? It's your favorite thing on the menu." She acknowledged the truth of that with a very faint smile, taking a sip before rummaging through the bag and handing him his fries, slipping easily into their old road trip ritual, fries first, then sandwich. The sun was gone now, and the lovely rolling eastern Kansas countryside had become a purple blur. She chewed on a fry. "I don't see how your mother could still love me after what I did." He couldn't see her eyes in the dim light. "Do we have to talk about that?" "No, not particularly." She had a big heart, he said. He had changed his mind. Talking about them, while painful, was at least familiar. And she made me face my own failings regarding our marriage. Faithfulness doesn't excuse neglect, his mother had told him. Nor does it deserve betrayal, he remembered snarling back. She took his fries box when it was empty and handed him the sandwich with a napkin. Thank you for not gloating when Tim left me. He had never revealed his immense satisfaction when that son of a bitch showed his true colors. It wasn't his place anymore. I hated him. I hated him for coming between us. I still do. Do you still hate me? Her voice was small. He wanted to say he never hated her, but that would have been a lie. Not anymore, he said, and he felt compelled to add, if only because she was so vulnerable, stuck in this car with him, and because he had loved her once. I hate him because he hurt you. Her hand touched his arm, and then pulled away. He turned off the radio, and they finished the meal in silence. She poured him a cup of coffee from a thermos while he reached behind for a pillow. It's not too dirty. I just grabbed it off my bed without thinking. That's fine. You don't have cooties, she said. Wake me when you want to switch. He thought she smelled the pillow before closing her eyes. It was dark now, and the traffic was light. Jeff figured they could stop and have breakfast in Vail. He tried thinking about his mother, but the image of her dropping dead in his sister's living room in front of the horrified grandchildren kept intruding on thoughts of her kindness. She had refused to speak ill of her daughter-in-law, despite his anger and bitterness at what she had done. His sister said the cemetery was digging up Dad and deepening the grave so they could be buried together. Swallowing hard, he wondered about the thousands of additional funerals the day had made necessary. Emmy brought out the best in you, his mother had said. I can't hate her for that. She didn't always bring out the best in him. A few weeks after Tim left her, Emily had drunk-dialed Jeff, apologizing over and over. He hung up on her, not wanting to end up calling her a whore. It occurred to him that he was an orphan now, alone in a world seemingly gone insane. Overwhelmed, he tried focusing on the road ahead. The headlights managed to keep the oppressive darkness at bay for a few yards at least. He wished there was something he could do to counter, even in some tiny way, the awfulness. In the faint dashboard light, she looked delicate and frail, propped up by the pillow against the window. He regretted not having been gracious enough to accept her apology back then. He wondered if he could accept it now. He wanted to tell his mother that she was right.